This is going to be an incredible season. This is kind of an unprecedented season. You and I are always fired up, and I think anybody bothering to listen to this podcast is probably equally fired up for every opening day. But I feel like this is a special one with the momentum of the World Baseball Classic it seemed to transcend just baseball. It felt like it was the biggest sports story, except for the ridiculous NCAA tournament. But uh, the the momentum they were carrying in from that, coupled with the rules changes that I think they're going to be incredibly popular. If they're, I think they're going to be incredibly successful too. Just the theories behind them, the practice that we've seen so far in spring training, they've shaved off a half hour of wasted time in every game. This is not trying to shorten the games; it's trying to cut out the bullshit, the standing around that nobody needs to see. That is already being effective. The Making the bases larger seems like a ridiculous thing, but I think we haven't seen it a lot in the spring, but I think that's by design. Teams are not showing their hand on how much they're actually going to be trying to move runners from first to second on a regular basis, coupled with the rules, the step off rules and the thrown over rules. You can only throw over twice. The pitch clock is going to be a revolution. All of it. Even Major League Baseball has done a good job like marketing these rules changes. I don't know if you've seen, they have several commercials going on right now, kind of poking fun at themselves, which I think is always a good idea, but really explaining the rules. There's actually a commercial now with Tim Anderson and Blake Snell. Have you seen? I guess you haven't seen this.
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, go out on MLB Twitter. They've been playing them a lot.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be seeing them on TV here shortly, but there's one commercial in particular you would love. It's Tim Anderson and Blake Snell are out on a practice field. It starts off with Blake Snell's hat getting blown off. Just the wind carries it off. And Tim is out on playing shortstop, but the hat actually gets blown off to the wrong side of second base. And Snell asks for a little help, and Tim's like, "Sorry, man, I can't do it. New rules say I got to play between second and third." He's like, and Snell's like incredulous, like, this isn't really a game. He's like, "I don't know, man. I can't risk it." and he keeps giving her shit for not getting his hat. And he's like, "Maybe you shouldn't let your hat blow off. You wouldn't have this problem." My second baseman will be here in about 10 minutes so you can get your hat for you. There's another one with Dan Vogelbach, who's a former Cub player, actually. Looks like a dude, basically looks like Kyle Schwarber times 2. Never quite had the prodigious power or perfect timing of Kyle Schwarber, but he is famously been in the league for 7 years and has 0 stolen bases. And he's with the Mets right now. The commercial is his thoughts about the bigger bases and how he's just a little bit closer to second as he's standing on first, thinking about maybe stealing second. The other protagonist in the commercial is Buck Showalter. He's thinking, he's not thinking about stealing. He's been in the league 7 years and has 0 stolen bases. So they're basically going to have a dialogue without knowing it, each in their own thoughts. It's like, "No, you are not stealing. I'm taking second." And so this big fatso thinking about taking second base, talking about the bigger bases. So I don't know. There's been clever commercials. There's another one with Joey Votto, using some of the stars of the game, making fun of themselves while still like talking about the new changes and how exciting they're going to be, kind of educating and bringing about a little bit of hype for how this game's going to look radically different this year. And I'm looking forward to it. You see a few people complaining on Twitter, which you always will, the old man shaking his fist at a cloud that he hates any kind of change, but these changes are going to be fantastic, I think. So I don't know how you feel, but I think you're probably equally excited.
Well, I was equally as excited until this 2 outfielder bullshit thing started now that poor Joey Votto, or not Joey Votto, that Joey Gallo's been dealing with.
Well, Votto too, but yeah, every left-handed hitter. But
in the fact that there's now an outfield shift, which wasn't dealt with at the beginning of the season, that is essentially creating the same situation we've been dealing with. So I don't know.
It changes the dynamic a bit. We're gonna definitely. It's a little disturbing that they hadn't considered that. They didn't make outfield rules the way they did infield to combat the shift, but they weren't unaware of that? Because I heard that, they banned the shift in different leagues in the minors this past year. So they saw what teams could do. So they were aware that this is a possibility. I'd be shocked if it's really employed that much. It has been, maybe to the worst of the pull hitters, and specifically Joey Gallo, like you said. He might be the victim more than others. I'm not sure that's going to be. It's a bigger risk.
It's a huge risk.
It was much less risky to move your third baseman into that spot than it is to move your left fielder into that spot. So I think it's not going to be employed nearly as much, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it plays out. But I think the data suggested that they didn't need to make that rule in the outfield. Is the only thing I can think of. So hopefully your season isn't ruined by the outfield shift. I would, like I said, I think that's going to be minimal. I think everything else is going to work to create more action on the bases, more hits, a livelier, faster paced game. I think it's going to be awesome. I cannot wait for Thursday.
Word Hole Media.